mean, that's wrong, man. I mean, that's just like torturing someone. Yeah, I mean, going in there and hurting someone is just not fair on Davis.
Jake Paul, Tank Davis.
I got Tank by murder.
Size don't matter?
Hell no.
And people, it's funny how now they're saying size matters, Jake is big, when for so long it's been Tank would kill Jake Paul. Now you get to see if that.
Boxing experts are predicting that Gervonta Davis will come out on top against Jake Paul. Many believe Davis's experience and skill give him a clear advantage, and they expect him to take control of the fight. Paulie Malignaggi pointed out that Jake's size won't matter because Davis's technique and ring IQ are on another level. He praised Davis's legendary career, built on years of dominance, saying it has had a major impact on the sport. Malignaggi also reminded fans not to overlook Davis's legacy, as his accomplishments continue to shape boxing at the highest level.
Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as where his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you, you can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinching? You ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? There's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks
the answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah, but if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion, multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algier, the champ, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you. You're probably going down if you're a small guy if he hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot?
Nisa Badarian, co-founder of Most Valuable Promotions and a key figure in Jake Paul's boxing career, has spoken out ahead of the upcoming Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul showdown. Badarian made it clear that Jake's size advantage won't make a difference against a fighter like Davis. He explained that this matchup wasn't a last-minute idea. It's been in the works ever since Jake's planned fight with Canelo Alvarez fell through. His comments shed light on how both camps have been strategically planning major fights, aiming to balance entertainment with legacy. While some critics claim Jake's size could be too much for a smaller opponent, Badarian completely rejects that view. He believes skill, speed, and power outweigh size, and Gervonta Davis possesses all three at the highest level.
Elephant in the room. What weight, Nikisa? What weight could they possibly be fighting at? The news broke. Jake and Tank are gonna happen November 14th.
Whatever weight they want, man, they're talking about it, and whatever it is, it's gonna be a definitive outcome. People can talk about pro exhibition. We're gonna make sure this is as real as it's real.
Why was it, just out of curiosity, why is it not a professional bout and why is it an exhibition? Because I'm sure Jake would have taken the professional bout.
Nothing's been communicated as yet in terms of what it is, right? Similar to, if you remember with Paul Tyson, when we announced it, we didn't have the weight, we didn't have the rules, particularly in terms of the number of rounds, the minutes, the gloves. It's gonna be the same thing here.
Gotcha. Can you just offer us any insight as to how these negotiations went? The reason I ask is because I remember back in March, I was at Tank's fight, and after his fight in his press conference, he was asked, next opponent. He said, well, my next opponent might have been in my locker room tonight, and people asked him, was it Jake? He made reference, he made allusion to. Has this been an ongoing thing, and has it ever, been at a point where it wasn't gonna happen and came back, or was this always the plan?
Always been the plan for Jake to fight Tank once Canelo didn't happen. And to Tank's credit, he's a real bad dude, and he's been calling out Jake for 3 years. And people, it's funny how now they're saying size matters, Jake is big, when for so long it's been Tank would kill Jake Paul. Now you get to see if that's real. Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Gotcha. Knockout?
One of them.
The elephant in the room. elephant in the, what do you know about how this came to be? And then if you can, do you have any idea on what the weight is going to be between Jake Paul and Tank Davis, which was just announced?
Well, considering that I'm one of the guys on the team, you know, we always like to allow everyone in front to be able to release.
Veteran trainer Jeff Mayweather has taken a different position from Nakisa and many others by backing Jake Paul. Jeff explained that at this weight, Jake holds the clear advantage. Most of Jake's professional fights have been at cruiserweight, giving him more natural size, power, and reach. Gervonta Davis, meanwhile, is moving up multiple weight classes for this bout, raising doubts about how his smaller frame will adapt. Jeff Mayweather's prediction highlights a key debate among boxing experts. While Davis is considered one of the most skilled and explosive fighters in the sport, size and strength could play a major role in this matchup.
That's for a reason. And I mean, even as good as Tank is.
It'd be similar to Logan and Floyd, right? If it's an exhibition.
Nah, that ain't.
Well, I mean, the weight differences.
The weight difference is way more. Jake is over 200 pounds.
Logan was around 200 pounds.
Yeah, but
Who wins the fight, man? We ain't talking. Who wins if they have it? Come on now, answer the question.
I mean, to be honest, I would think Jake know how to fight a little bit. I think he should win. He's beating a man that's 135 pounds. He should be able to win.
Gervonta Davis himself has added more fuel to the fire by posting the official promotional video for the fight on Instagram. Fans who were expecting a rematch with Lamont Roach were caught off guard, as many believed Davis would focus on cementing his legacy by settling unfinished business. Instead, Davis embraced the spectacle, stepping into a fight that blends boxing skill with massive entertainment value. By sharing the promo, he sent a clear message: boxing isn't just about legacy, it's about evolving the sport, drawing new eyes, and creating global moments. While purists may criticize the move, Davis seems unfazed. In his eyes, Jake Paul represents a different kind of challenge, one that will bring unparalleled attention to the sport and likely make this one of the most watched boxing events of the year.
They were trying, or still trying, to find a common medium, which is 175, so the fight can officially be sanctioned as a real boxing match. But there's no boxing commission that will sanction it because the weight is just too far apart. And Jake Paul has proven to be a true boxer now, okay? So it's considered an exhibition, which what I'm being told is going to be 10 2-minute rounds. But they wanted Jake Paul to make 175 so this can be a real boxing match and count against their record in BoxRec. But the fans are demanding to see him fight Lamont Roach. As I told you guys, Tank told you that he wasn't fighting Lamont Roach in the rematch. He had other plans, which is Jake Paul. He told you that in the post-fight press conference after the Lamont Roach fight, right? So with that said, that fell through at the time, and he revisited and entertained the idea of fighting Lamont Roach in a rematch. But he never signed the contract. They were supposed to fight June 21st. He never signed the contract. Then they were supposed to fight August 16th. He never signed the contract. And then he had the arrest. He had to get bailed out, so on and so forth. With that said, now he's broke his silence. He resurfaced on social media because he went ghost on social media. And he put up this promo, and the fans are responding in a negative way. And he's responding in a negative way. He's responding right back with the same energy. And he's telling the fans, because the fans are saying, hey, the money that you reportedly making, which is being said that he's going to make $40 million for this fight, according to multiple sources and Eddie Hearn and a few other people. He's supposed to...
Matchroom's Frank Smith recently revealed that Gervonta Davis had originally been scheduled for a rematch against Lamont Roach, a bout many believed would further solidify his legacy. However, when the opportunity to face Jake Paul surfaced, everything changed. According to Smith, the financial upside and worldwide exposure associated with a Jake Paul fight were simply too big to pass up. This move underscores the evolving landscape of modern boxing, where fighters must constantly balance sporting integrity with commercial potential. For Davis, taking on Jake Paul isn't just a business decision. It's a strategic play to expand his global reach and draw in new audiences far beyond boxing's traditional fan base. Smith stopped short of criticizing the switch, but his comments reflect a larger truth about today's fight game. Legacy bouts often give way to crossover spectacles that promise massive pay-per-view numbers and global buzz. In that sense, the Davis versus Paul fight is more than a clash of skills. It's a sign of where the sport is headed.
Let's say you take money out of the equation, which is obviously the main factor here, but like he's in a division where he's got killers all in his division. You know, Shakur, Haney, who's 147. You know, you look at a T.O., for example, Keyshawn, and then you choose to fight someone like Paul. Surely that's a concern when you do look at it like that.
Yeah, but again, it's the world we're in. If you can get a huge amount of money to fight someone who's never boxed really before, you're going to do it. You know, Floyd Mayweather boxed Logan Paul with a huge weight disparity.
He was done by then. He was done. Like, this is an active world champion.
But it's the world we're in.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. You know, when it comes down to it. It's just like Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather. Two completely different sports. Was the biggest pay-per-view in recent times, wasn't it? Maybe if ever.
Those are like different comparisons, though, if you think about it. Do you not like...
Yeah, but the sport's in a wild place, isn't it? That's just, like, I'm just like the reality of where we are, you know. And I can't really say much when we're talking about Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua at the same time.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think Tank should get stripped of his title?
Yeah, I think anyone who, just in general, doesn't defend their title to do something else should get stripped because it shouldn't hold the belts up. You know, in any, like, I think that should be the reality in anything. You know, if you're not going to defend your belts or you're not defending, sometimes there's the rules, obviously, if you fight for a belt at a higher weight, you can retain the belt until there. But if you're not, don't have intention of defending the belts, you shouldn't hold the belts up. People should get the opportunity to fight for them.
What happened with the failed negotiations between AJ and Jake Paul?
I think anything's still possible. That was always discussed for next year. You know, this fight's November, early part of next year. AJ's in a great place because if anyone in the heavyweight division wants to make huge money, Anthony Joshua is the man they have to get in there.
An analyst addressed the criticism aimed at Gervonta Davis for choosing to fight Jake Paul. He argued that fans often look for reasons to troll fighters instead of appreciating their careers. Davis has spent years building his name through discipline, talent, and highlight reel knockouts. If he now wants to make money through a spectacle fight, there's nothing wrong with that. This view reflects frustration within the boxing community, where many lifelong fighters get less credit than crossover stars like Jake Paul. By fighting Paul, Davis secures a career-high payday and a chance to silence critics who doubt his ability to shine on the biggest stage.
We stand up and put some value on fighters that dare to be great, that respect the sport of boxing and not just the business of boxing. Ryan Garcia never been a champion. Shout out to Ryan Garcia, but Ryan Garcia never been a champion. Making more money than these guys, Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, right? Ryan Garcia, the less accomplished fighter, was just main eventing in their last fight. Devin Haney was the co-main event, and Teofimo Lopez was playing third fiddle. Where was the hardcore boxing fans' dollars? Where was the hardcore boxing fans' appreciation? Don't blame that on Turkey. Don't blame that on the promoters. The promoters are businessmen. And it seems like the promoters already know that the hardcore boxing fans don't flip the bill. Don't get mad at Gervonta Tank Davis for chasing the money, because he understood that in the sport of boxing, it's not enough to just go for the gusto. It's not lucrative to be the best, to fight the best and be the best. At the end of the day, they prize fighters as well. So the hardcore boxing fans is at fault. The business handlers, you know, in business, you go for your target audience. So they're going for the casuals. Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis make the most money and do the less.
Some fans have accused Gervonta Davis of avoiding high-level opponents like Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez to chase a money fight with Jake Paul. While these criticisms are loud on social media, others believe they're unfair. Davis has consistently proven his dominance across multiple weight classes, defeating champions and maintaining an undefeated record. Suggesting that he's ducking opponents undermines his established legacy. Choosing to fight Jake Paul doesn't erase Davis's accomplishments. It simply reflects how modern boxing embraces both legacy-defining matchups and crossover spectacles.
No Keyshawn Davis, no Teofimo Lopez, none of them dudes. You know what I'm talking about? We gotta think and look at Tank Davis's whole career. He done made some bread, but at the end of the day, all that bread that he made, when it's all said and done, he ain't gonna get no respect from his peers, because we gonna look down his resume and we gonna be like, He was trash. He was some trash. He was some trash. He was all right, but he was never like that. He was okay. He was some trash. He was some trash. He ain't did nothing. Hey, that's just what it's going to be at the end of the day. Get mad, a moment of silence, all of the Gervonta Tank Davis.
Jake Paul, known for his bold declarations, is already looking beyond Gervonta Davis, publicly stating his desire to face Anthony Joshua next. The announcement sent shockwaves through boxing circles, sparking a mix of ridicule and admiration. Given Joshua's elite pedigree and massive size advantage, many experts view Paul's ambition as unrealistic. Still, his determination is undeniable. Paul continues to pursue high-profile opponents to fast-track his legitimacy in the sport. Whether driven by competition, promotion, or legacy, his callouts ensure that he remains in the spotlight and force established champions to acknowledge his presence. If nothing else, his audacity highlights a fearless approach, one that thrives on risk, controversy, and the global conversation it creates.
Referring to Anthony Joshua.
Yeah. And
he's going to go and fight a 140er and then move up 135er and then move up and fight a heavyweight.
So the lowest he's been, I went through all the fights. For his first two fights, his first two pro fights, he was 175. Now this is all the way back in 2020 against Nate Robinson. Since then, the lowest he's been, as you said, was like the 185 around the Nate Diaz fight and also for Tommy Fury. I wonder if Jake can get down to that weight anymore. But regardless of Jake's weight, I can't fathom how Tank Davis would be anywhere in the realm of what he would be. Like, it just, he won't even be in earshot of what Jake Paul is going to be.
And for people, like you just mentioned, Nate Robinson, if you're thinking Nate Robinson, oh, he might be around Tank Davis's size. Nah, he was an NBA player. He's 4 inches taller than Tank Davis.
Yeah.
He is not that small. He is around Ryan Garcia's height.
The visual on this is going to be absolutely comical.
Comical, dude. And then on top of all this, Lamont Roach Jr. also jumping on Twitter and saying, told y'all, LOL, duck, duck, duck. That is in reference. This is Gervonta Davis's last opponent in a fight that ended in a draw that many people found to be very controversial.
Show Eyes, the analyst, broke down the timeline of how this fight came together, emphasizing that it wasn't a sudden or impulsive decision. According to him, Gervonta Tank Davis and Jake Paul had been discussing this matchup for quite some time, with quiet negotiations taking place behind the scenes. The fight only became official after the Lamont Roach rematch fell through, but in truth, it had been in motion for years. For Jake Paul, this bout represents the culmination of his long-standing mission to prove he's more than just a YouTube personality. Facing Davis gives him the credibility and respect he's been chasing since his early boxing ventures. For Davis, despite conceding size and weight, the fight presents an opportunity to demonstrate that pure skill, timing, and experience can overcome physical advantages. Ultimately, this matchup transcends the idea of a simple crossover event. It's a strategic confrontation poised to redefine both men's careers and reshape the modern boxing landscape.
Tank Davis told you at the press conference, the post-press conference of Lamont. Honestly, here's just a video of all of this being in the works for a while now.
He's gonna call? All right. Yeah, that's how I usually do. And backflip, knockout, backflip, call someone out.
No, I don't never call nobody out.
Ooh, so it'll be a first time. So more reason to tune in on March 1st.
Yeah, but I just told you that in the air. You said.
Do you want that rematch next? And if so, how likely it is that we're to see that fight happen again this year? Is that the one you want next?
It's definitely the one I want next, but it's not gonna be next.
Oh, well, what is?
We might see it in a minute.
With you and Tank actually being a thing, was that something that was talked about?
Yeah, no, it was highly talked about and in negotiations and almost ready to make happen, but he has to do his rematch with Lamont and get that W, and then we'll be able to run it back. But me and Gervonta were scheduled to fight for sure.
So, this was always a thing, and which kind of explains why they robbed Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach won that fight, bro. They robbed him of the knockdown. He won that fight. You count the knockdown. Let's just say it's a draw. You count the knockdown, Lamont Roach wins officially. All right, they robbed him of the knockdown. And which makes sense, okay? Because this is going to be one hell of a bag. And I want to make this understood. This isn't one hell of a bag because Jake Paul is a hell of a bag type of guy. They both are. It's the matchup. All right, I've seen Jake Paul have fights that didn't do so well, like Mike Perry, it did okay.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates, and until next time, keep your gloves up and your passion for boxing alive.